Hey y'all, I have a few questions for you. Do you constantly feel out of control when you're around certain foods? Maybe there is a lot of shame and guilt you feel over foods you should or shouldn't eat. Or even you just can't quite get into that healthy lifestyle. You see yourself restricting and binging over certain foods, and you're not quite sure how to control that. Well, don't worry, you are not alone. And for many years, I also dealt with those emotions. It wasn't until I learned this one concept and did these 5 steps that I was able to live a healthy life and regain that power that I put onto food. So if you want to learn about that one tactic and those 5 steps, you stay tuned, I gotcha. Hey y'all, and welcome back. If we haven't met before, my name is Nicole Hoskins. I'm a registered dietitian as well as a fitness instructor, and I've been in this fitness nutrition world for over 11 years now. And a fun fact, it is my birthday week, and I am so pumped for my birthday week that I wanted to share with you how I went from being super restricted with so many food rules to how I regained that food power and started living just a healthy lifestyle, and honestly, way more healthy than when I had those food rules. I was so disconnected from my body, from hunger cues, from fullness, that I only abided by these set rules that I either made up, heard on the internet, heard a friend say, maybe even a celebrity say, that I thought was the right way to eat. And you know, that is so common, and it's not even just for bad foods. In actuality, it is the deprivation of a certain food that makes you want it so much more. There was this crazy study done with 2 sets of children. One group of children were forbidden to eat sugary foods. One set of children were forbidden to eat fruit. And then the other set of children were free to eat whatever they wanted. Both the children that were forbidden to eat sugar and forbidden to eat fruit, both overate that food they were deprived from. When the children who were deprived from eating the fruit were given the option of eating fruit and sugary foods, they actually ate more fruit than the sugary foods, which you probably would have thought the opposite, because that was a certain food they were deprived from. And the control group of the kids who were able to eat whatever they wanted ate less than the kids who were deprived from fruits or sweets. So that makes you think, is it that these foods are actually bad? Or is it actually that the food rules we put on ourselves are setting ourselves up for failure? Spoiler alert, it's the rules. And this brings me to the main point of this video. How can you live a healthy lifestyle without being so rigid and controlled over food? And it's a secret that's not a secret because I tell anybody who asks me, and it's making peace with food, which is what Evelyn Tribal of Intuitive Eating discusses all the time. But really, I just call it taking back the power that you put on food and putting that power back into yourself to make better choices in the long run. It was found that women who reported high levels of intuitive eating actually had lower BMI than people who lived with those hard and fast rules. And if you want to learn more about that, I highly suggest buying this book, the Intuitive Eating Workbook. Today though, we're just talking about taking away the guilt you feel with food. So you're probably thinking, Nicole, how do I do it? How do I take that power that I put on food for so long and stop feeling this food guilt? There are 5 steps that I did to regain control over food, and now I don't feel guilty when I eat certain foods. Like pasta, have it every week, but if you told little Nicole that, she would probably panic. The first step is to reflect. You're gonna grab a piece of paper, you will write all those food rules that you have in your head. Maybe they are, you can have sweet potatoes but not baked potatoes. Carbs are bad. Maybe they are, I can't eat after so-and-so PM. You gotta reflect. And the reason is you can't change what you don't know. So there might be food rules that you're unaware of. Highly recommend writing down all those food rules that you have, or all those forbidden foods that you have that you cannot eat without feeling bad about. Reflecting over these and asking yourself, why do I have these rules? Where did they come from? Why can't I eat these foods? And I want to asterisk real quick. It is not for those who are allergic to foods. If people have a true celiac, if people are allergic to nuts, we're not trying to bring in foods that make our body sick. That's the whole point. We want to eat foods that make our body feel good, that we feel good when we eat them. What reflection is doing is it is challenging those food thoughts that you have, those food beliefs that you have, and where they came from, and deciding if you want to continue living that way. It's a big question. One that you might need to sit with for a little bit, and that's okay. And if you're reading all this food list and you're realizing, you know what? I think it's time to change. That is step number 2, which really is just making the decision to change and making the decision to take away that power from food. How crazy. That's it. That's step number 2. If you did that, check it off the list. You did it. Step number 3, I'm gonna tell you right now, there's usually a lot of resistance, skepticism with this rule. It's the biggest one, and I know you can do it. Step number 3, it is bringing the foods that you forbid into your home. I know, a lot of people just say don't buy the foods and don't bring it into your home, and then everything will be fine. But that's just running away from your problems, you know? Here is my bone to pick with people who say, just don't buy the food. Well, yeah, but if you just don't pay your taxes, you're gonna get caught and you're gonna have to pay more taxes. Same thing with the food. If you don't buy those forbidden foods and you don't bring them into your house, when you do bring them into your house or when you do see them in the wild, you're more likely going to overeat that food. Whereas if you bring it into your house, and it's like this exposure therapy per se, you take the excitement away from the food. Because things that you don't see often are novelty. They're exciting, they're new. That if you bring in the food, it's no longer exciting, it's no longer new, it is just a food. Let's take a backpedal and talk about deprivation. When we deprive ourselves of a certain food, research has shown our brain has this increased sensation of needing that certain food. So when we tell our brain, no, you can't eat chocolate, our brain is like,
don't tell me what to do. Give me all the chocolate.
And then we say, no, you can't have chocolate. And then our brain just volumes up.
I need chocolate, I need chocolate, I need chocolate, I need chocolate.
Until you can't take it anymore, that you overeat the chocolate. Has that happened? Probably. And that's just the deprivation factor. When we deprive ourselves of something for so long, it becomes new and shiny. When we see it, we overeat it. If I'm breaking the excitement of food and I'm bringing in, let's say, chocolate bars, I'll have them in my house when I have the thought,
I want some chocolate.
Okay, get your pretty booty up, go to the place where you have your chocolate, grab a portion of chocolate, whatever portion you want, sit down away from distractions, that means away from your TV, away from talking to people, and enjoy the chocolate. See how you feel, see how it tastes, smell it, taste it, feel it. And if there's some anxiety, that's okay. You might also be surprised that you enjoy the chocolate, and you might also be surprised that you don't need the whole bar. That you feel satisfied after a couple little squares. Cool. Wrap it back up, put it away, you're done until the next time. Will you mess up sometimes? Sure, but you're a human. Humans mess up. I still have days where I eat a couple too much chocolate. That's okay. I have no guilt over that. If I'm being honest, maybe 5 seconds of guilt and then it goes away real quick because I realize, that's just one part of my life. I have a bunch of other opportunities to eat healthier. When you first start introducing these forbidden foods into your house, do it slowly. Have patience with yourself. You're not gonna go 0 to 100. You can have everything in your house without feeling stressed. So I recommend bringing in one food at a time, have it in your house whenever you need it. Step number 4 is reframing your brain when you're eating your forbidden foods. This one's really fun. It's like a little game in your head. You see the chocolate bar. Instead of thinking, I cannot have this chocolate bar. If you say you can't have it, your brain's gonna be like,
don't tell me what to do.
And then it's gonna eat the chocolate bar. If you then reframe your brain and say,
do I even want this chocolate bar? When I eat this chocolate bar, how will I feel after? Do I want to feel that way after?
Reframing into not you can't have it, but how do you feel? Do you even want it? Do you even like the chocolate bar? Ask yourself these questions because that's how you create the power within yourself to make these choices that are best for you. If you do say,
yeah, I want the chocolate bar. You know what? I'm gonna have a piece or 2 of this chocolate bar so I can save some for later.
It isn't,
I'm only gonna have 2 pieces, I promise, and then I'll work out more later.
No, That's not what it is. Reframing is taking the power away from the food and you making the choice for yourself of what your body wants, what you want. Step number 5 that I did to regain my power from food and to make peace with food was to have some self-compassion. And self-compassion is so tricky if you're so hard on yourself. We are our toughest critic. We've heard that line all the time. We are the toughest critic. Some things we say to ourselves are real jerk things to say. We say things to ourselves that we would never say to our friends, which is a real shame because you deserve to have you as a friend. You're a great friend. Self-compassion is just knowing you are human and humans make mistakes. It's allowing yourself or giving permission to yourself to not be perfect, which it can be difficult, especially if you're someone like me who is a little bit more type A than I like to say. This is a journey. It doesn't just happen in one day. That throughout your journey of living a healthy lifestyle, you're gonna have mishaps or mistakes, or you are just gonna have some days that you do overindulge in chocolate. Here's the fun thing with self-compassion. It's when you give yourself permission to fail, to then ask yourself, what happened here? So if I had this whole bar, I'm gonna ask myself,
What happened here?
why did I eat this entire bar when I'm used to just having a couple squares? Am I more stressed than usual? Am I mad at somebody? Am I feeling less than? Once I pinpoint what led me to my overindulgence, I'll say, what are some steps that I can help to maybe decrease the amount of times this happens? You might hear some people say go for a walk. Some recommend writing down on a journal. I truly just like to put on music, dance around, and again, having self-compassion is not judging yourself. It is just seeing what happened and moving on. Now that I've shared my tips that helped me regain power from food and have peace with food, you might notice that you still need some extra help, which is totally okay and totally normal. I highly recommend reaching out to a therapist or a registered dietitian to make peace with food and live a healthy life overall. And I know with practice, you too can minimize those diet rules that you may have and minimize that food guilt you have when you eat something not good for you. Enjoy the food you have. You live one life only. It isn't just to eat boiled chicken and broccoli. Sometimes we gotta eat some fun foods too. It's learning that balance, and I hope you learned something in today's video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to today's channel, press the like button, and let me know what your favorite foods are down below. My number 1 favorite food, tofu right now. Love it in the air fryer with some buffalo sauce. Second favorite food, hot sauce. It's not really a food, it's a condiment, but I can't live without it. Third favorite food, twin snake gummies. They're a habanero gummy, half of it's sweet, half of it's sour. Oh my gosh, if you haven't tried it, do it. If you liked today's video, you can also share it with your friends and family or even social media. And until next time, you drink your water, you eat your fruits and vegetables, you be kind to others and yourself. And I'll see ya next week. Bye, y'all.